3 trades, same exact setup, and over $100,000 in profit. Sounds crazy, right? I get it, because a few years ago, I wouldn't have believed it either. But I don't want to waste your time with hype or fancy intro, so before we discuss the breakdown, I want to show you guys the proof. And here's the proof. 3 screenshots from Interactive Brokers. You can't fake your trades on this broker. It's a regulated broker in the US. On the first trade, 22.7K. Second trade, 29.1K. Third trade, approximately 43.4K. Total realized profit, just around $100,000. And if you need more proof, just stick around until the end of this video. I will show you my live trades, my entries, my exits, everything, so you won't have any doubts by the end of this video. So if you have been trading for a while, you probably noticed this, that the market moves in similar patterns over and over again. But most people just never slow down enough to study why does this actually happen. This setup comes from that observation. It's not magic, it's repetition. The market moves in repeated patterns, same emotional traps, same levels, same reactions, and once you understand why does this actually happen, you stop guessing. This setup is all about structure plus timing. Structure gives you your level, timing comes from the tape. When both of these things align, the structure and the tape, that's when I strike, which is what I call the market DNA strategy. Alright, let's start with what actually matters, the entry criteria, because once you have the setup, how to enter, where to enter. To discuss that, we first need to mark the levels of significance, because without context, every setup just looks random. Levels of significance are those key zones where the market reacts, not just visits. We just don't see a visit, it reacts aggressively. They are the points of emotional memory, where traders got trapped, where momentum shifted, or where big money last stepped in. If you want to know more about this, watch the video I posted on how to trade the market open right here. I will link that video in the description box below and towards the end of this video. So without further delay, let's actually break down the first trade I took using this strategy, and we are going to try and explain this strategy, understand the strategy with the help of real examples. The first example we will take a look at will be on NVDA, and that will be on 9th of October. So we can see that on 9th of October, this stock was gapping up, and it was gapping up above the prior all-time high, which was 191.05. I have marked that level in red because it's a significant level. If you guys need to understand what levels of significance are, I would highly recommend you guys to watch the how to trade the market open after this video, and that is the reason I'm going to link that video towards the end of this video. But for now, you just need to understand that the prior all-time high was a significant level on this stock, because we got rejected 4% approximately from that level. So on this day, I only had this one level marked on my chart, because that's a significant level. I don't want to mark 15 different levels on my daily chart, because a lot of people say that mark your levels on the higher time frames. I can honestly go back to the daily chart and mark 15 different levels. I'm not going to do that, because I just want to mark my levels of significance. Now let's take a look at the intraday time frames, like the hourly chart. On the hourly chart, we can see that the prior day we had a push towards the upside. After that, it was consolidating and closed near the high of the day the prior day, which is nice, because a lot of people say that a strong green candle is nice. For me, I just want to see what happens towards the close of that day. Towards the close on the hourly chart, we actually see a bull flag. That is why I trade all the patterns. I trade the bull flag, bear flags, break and retest, head and shoulders, dragonfly, like whatever. Like I trade all the patterns along with the market context and tape reading. And there will be a very good example of tape reading on this stock, which I'm going to show you as well on this trade. So I had this level marked. Let's actually now look at the 5-minute chart and where I entered and where I exited. So we can see on the 5-minute chart, off the open, I actually took a loss on this stock. Let's actually take a look at the 1-minute chart. I entered when we closed strong on the 1 minute. I entered and I covered my position. We are going to take a look at everything, including the recording of this trade. And that was a small loss. And that's why your risk management needs to be on point. Not every trade is going to work out. You can have the best game plan in the world. It might take you 2 or 3 attempts for it to work out. And even then, it might not work out. So your risk management needs to be on point. And then after that, what happened? We went towards this level of significance, 191 zone. See what happened. We were unable to flush down under 191. We will take a look at the book map as well. What happened? We had a buyer absorption right here. So the buyers were able to absorb all the sellers near 191. And then what happened? On the 5-minute chart, we actually closed like a doji. I entered my position on the next candle itself, but I saw that near the low of the day, 191, there were passive buyers. They bought all the selling pressure, and we saw a buyer absorption. That means the buyers absorbed all the sellers. After that, we had a push towards the upside. I entered my position right here. So based on the price action, we had a pullback, we had a doji, and we held that prior level of significance. The only level I had on my chart, we held that zone, push towards the upside. Let's see how I executed on this stock now. And now here's the live recording of this trade. There will be a nice surprise for you at the end of this video if you guys want to watch the whole thing. So we can see that we had a push down. I'm going to show you guys my first entry. You can see right here, buy at 2.07, exit at 2.07. So I took a break-even trade. I entered at 9:30 a.m., covered at 9:31 a.m. Now what happened near 191? So this is the level that we marked, the significant level on the TradingView platform. So I look at the TradingView while actually trading. You guys don't see the level right here. But if you look at the Discord group, this is not a coincidence. This is real time. This is from 9th of October, 5:45 p.m., which is 9:45 a.m. EST. Took a break-even trade on NVDA for now. Watching for downside hold under R4 and upside above 192.5. NVDA real weird for now. Held prior all-time high and no panic on the tape. If you want to see a breakdown under the prior all-time high, we want to see panic on the tape. And that's not what we saw on the tape. There was no panic on the tape. If we hold under prior all-time high, I might look at this stock for downside. But as of now, I like it more towards the upside because there's no panic on the tape. Then I mentioned 5 minutes doji close right near prior all-time high and above R4, which is the Camarilla pivots level. If you guys want to understand more, because we held this R4 level as well on the price action. If you guys want to know what these R3, R4 levels are, I made a video on this as well, Camarilla pivots, the secret levels institutions use. I'm going to make sure to link how to trade the market open and the Camarilla pivots video, both these video towards the end of this video. So it's going to be a good watch for you guys after this one. And then NVIDIA kind of squeezing, and that's where I entered. So this was in real time. This was at 9:33 a.m. EST, and then after that 9:45. So this is where I entered my position. So when what I mentioned in the Discord group, I actually executed on it. So I saw that in real time, the tape was not really weak, which I'm going to show you what happened as well. On NVDA, we can see that I entered my position at 9:45, which is this candle itself. I entered my position, 500 contracts at a fill price of 2.14. And this was all about holding then. I just held on to my position for the break of R6, which is the squeeze level. After that, we can get into overdrive mode, which is what we did. We got into overdrive mode. And we just had a push towards the upside. I slowly started covering my position, overall making $44,000 on this stock, which I'm going to show you guys at the end. We can see right here. I made 43.4K, the screenshot I showed you guys earlier on. That's why I showed you. You need to stick around until the end of this video. We saw the entries, the exits, everything, including my PNL, 43.4K on this one trade. But now what happened on the tape reading? We can see that on tape reading, around 191, we had a lot of action from the sellers. You guys see all these red dots right here? There was a lot of action from the sellers, but no reaction. So we were trying to push down. The sellers were here. We are seeing big red dots near 191, but these red dots were absorbed by the buyers. It was unable to even break down under 191, which is where the big buyer is sitting. But these sellers are being absorbed by the passive buyers. We also saw a lot of red on the tape right here, but it was unable to push down. And that is why I mentioned in the Discord group that there's no panic on the tape. I don't see any panic because we are seeing some red, but these reds are getting absorbed by the buyers. We are seeing buyer absorption right here. Then what happened? There was an action from the sellers, but no reaction. So there was action, no reaction. There's something like this concept is very important in the market. And then what happened? We saw the action from the buyer and the reaction on the price action. So at first what happened, if I show you guys a trading view again, on the 1 minute chart, near 191, the low of the day, we saw a lot of action from the sellers, but no reaction. Look at this price action, very wicky price action. It's unable to push down. Then we saw action from the buyers and we saw reaction on the price action as well. We actually closed strong. Green candles right here, high volume, red candles, low volume, the basics of price action. So we are most likely going towards the upside. And then what happened? We had a push towards the upside on the price action around this candle, which is 945. This is where I entered my position, 944, 945 after seeing this. We had a push towards the upside on the price action. On the book map, we had another new buyer, 31,000 shares. That is why price action, the market structure, along with the market context and tape reading. So we had a pullback. The market context is that it's not holding weak around the low of the day. We are not seeing any panic. Along with tape reading, market DNA strategy, this is where I entered, making 44.3K, 44.4K on the stock in the next 15 minutes after entering this position at 9:45. Now let's take a look at the second example. The second example was on CRWE. So this stock was gapping up based on news, but do you see any difference between this setup and the NVIDIA setup? 80% approximately the setup is the same. That's why I mentioned 3 setups, exactly the same setup, and I made $100,000 approximately on 3 setups. CRWE, this was on 30th of September, so 9 days before I took that NVIDIA trade. I showed you guys on 9th of October. We had a push up on the stock and then we pulled back, followed by a gap up. Same thing was on NVIDIA. NVIDIA made an all-time high. This is not an all-time high, but we pulled back and we gapped up near a level of significance. That is very important. This is a significant level on this stock. I don't have a lot of levels on this stock. I only have this one level because if we actually hold this level, we might see a push towards the upside. One level, similar setup to NVIDIA, only one level of significance, not marking 15 different levels. So now let's take a look at the intraday price action and what happened around this level. On the 5-minute chart, we actually opened near 136, had a push down and crazy push towards the upside. Even though it doesn't look like a crazy push, but if you look from low to high, this is approximately $8.75, which is a lot on the stock because in the first 10 minutes, it moved approximately $9 on a stock where the ATR is approximately $10, $10.5. So it moved 80 or 90% of the ATR within the first 10 minutes of the market open. And if you catch a move like this, you're going to make a lot of money, especially with options like I did. So let's take a look at the 1-minute chart and see what happened. This was pretty straightforward tape on the stock. We had a push down on the 1-minute chart, followed by an opening range break. Based on the price action, this was an opening range break. But now let's take a look at what happened based on the tape as well. We had a sell-off right here, but you guys can see red dots are equal to the size approximately to green dots. There's no panic on the tape right here. After the open, I have a filter right here, which is only going to show me orders above 3,000 shares, which is important because especially after news catalysts, there will be a lot of noise. I just want to see where the big money is flowing, where the big buyers are buying and where the big sellers are selling. I want to see just the big orders. That's why I have a filter that is only going to show me orders above 3,000 shares. And then right here, we had a bit of red, but you guys can see on the tape, 90% of the orders, the big orders, again, there's a filter 3000 because if you don't have this filter, it's just going to be noise, green, red, green, red, green, red. But because I have a filter, I can clearly see on the time and sales right here, 90% of the big orders are hitting the ask price. That is green. That means 90% of the buyers we are seeing buying near the ask price. That means the buyers are aggressive on this stock and a lot of green on the tape. Now we can see right here, the green dots are equal to the red dots approximately. And then all of a sudden we had this action from the buyers. We can see the action, the green dots on the tape as well. This is where I entered my position, catching a nice push towards the upside. So this was the entry criteria and the profit target was a break of 140 because we have a lot of sellers sitting between 139 and 140. My thought process was that these sellers are going to act like magnets because we have a lot of buyers. So for these buyers to get filled, the big sellers, these sitting orders right here are going to act like magnets because if the buyers want to keep on buying, we have selling right there. So the buyers are going to absorb the sellers near 140. So especially when you are seeing these big orders along with a lot of green on the time and sales, that means there are buyers in the market and they are sellers at 140. So the job of the market is to meet the buyer and the seller. And the seller is sitting near 140. This doesn't happen every single time. If you are just seeing a big seller, but there's no buying, that means the stock won't go there. But I can see there's buying. I can see there are sellers sitting right there. So these orders are going to act like magnets. And to be honest, these kind of tape reading moments are what separates guessing from being confident on a setup. I'm going to show you guys a live recording of this trade, but I took this trade, I added to my position because of the confidence I got from tape reading. If you guys want to train your eye to spot these examples in real time, join the Summit Academy waitlist. The link will be in the description box below. Inside the Summit Academy, I have taken everything I have learned over the past 7 years, every setup, every mistake, every nuance of the technicals and tape reading, condensed it into one complete program. We launched in January 2026. So as I mentioned, you guys can join the waitlist by clicking the link in the description box below, and the people on the waitlist will have access to special launch pricing. Let's now take a look at how I executed on this stock. So here's the recording of this trade. We can see that the first 1 minute we had had a pullback on the second minute. I'm seeing on the book map and I'm just looking at, okay, all the sellers are getting absorbed and we are seeing some new buyers come into the picture. If we hold above 135.5, 136, which is a significant level on the daily chart, I'm going to look for my entries. So when we were about to break the high of the day, I entered my position before that. It took a while for the order to get filled because of how spready the premiums are, and it was very volatile as well. So I entered 100 contracts, that is 140 calls, because that was my profit target eventually, the break of 140. As I showed you guys, the big seller, it's going to act like a magnet. And my fill price was 3.85. After that, it was just about holding this trade. And then I added to my position right here. So once it actually broke above the high of the day, I added 100 more contracts to my position, overall holding 200 contracts. And my average fill price is approximately 3.95. I'm already in the money like 5.15. Even if I cover the position now, I'm already up like 3 to 6K on this stock. But it's not about that. It's about risk to reward. My risk on this trade is approximately $6,000 to $7,000, because if we come back down under 136, I'm going to cover my position most likely at a fill price of 3.6 and my average is 3.95. So I'm expecting to lose approximately $6,000 to $7,000 on this trade if it actually goes against me. As of now, I don't have any reason to believe that because the tape is strong. We are seeing a lot of buying on the tape. I just showed you guys one screenshot of the tape right here. But if you look at the recording in real time as well, because if I play everything now, it's going to be a very long video, but there was no reason for me to exit. Even right here, we can see we are not seeing a lot of red. I mean, we are seeing a bit of red right here, and that is why I covered 100 contracts. But my stop loss is still like 138. We might see some buyers. So I lowered my position sizing slightly, covered 50% of my position at 5.26. But the remainder 50%, once we actually broke above 140, it just squeezed towards the upside. We just had a nice squeeze towards the upside. I just kept taking my profits every high of the day, and then I tried adding on the pullback. It did not work out nicely, but now let's take a look at my PNL. So now you can see right here on this trade, overall I made $29,000 170. On the first trade itself, I made $30,000. I took 50% of my position out a bit too early. I saw a bit of reaction, a bit of red on the tape right here, because it actually closed like a doji on the 1 minute chart and the volume was actually really high. So I don't blame myself for covering 100 contracts, lowering my position sizing. But yeah, this could have been a $50,000 trade. On the ads, I basically just lost $1,000, overall making 29.1K on this stock, holding near a significant level on the daily chart, along with some sort of news catalyst. So you had the price action, you had the news catalyst, and you had the market DNA strategy. That is, we saw some buying on the tape as well, and a lot of sitting orders near 140. So because of the time and sales and the sitting orders at 140, I expected that the buyers are going to squeeze above 140 for a good push towards the upside, and that is what I was able to make my money on. Now let's take a look at the third example, which was on NVDA. Again, that was on 29th of September, and I'm going to keep it short and I'm going to tell you guys the reason why after I break down this trade. So on the daily chart, we can see this 180 zone is an important psychological level. It's 180, which is a nice $4 level and a level of significance on this stock, because we can see multiple high of the days near 180, low of the days near 180. It's a zone, not the exact level, and insane resistance around 180. We had a push down approximately 6% from 180, and we had a major sell-off near 180. Every time we hold above 180, we are seeing some big reds, low of the days, high of the days, big reds, big greens near 180. So 180 is a significant level on the stock. And on 29th of September, we were gapping up right near 180. And this was a nice trade right off the market open. Why? Because we were actually opening near the level of significance. And that's why I told you I won't spend a lot of time on this setup, because I actually broke this trade down, everything from start to end, in the video how to trade the market open. In this video, I'm going to keep it really short. On the 1 minute chart, we can see that we held 180 right off the market open and had a push towards the upside. If we take a look at the book map of the stock, we can see right around 180, we had some buying right here. We had a push down in the pre-market. This is 526, which is 926. Right before the market opens up, 9:30 a.m., we had a big buyer at 180. That's why I entered my position right off the market open, right off the bat, and my stop loss was a break under this buyer. Even if we break down under this buyer, I'm still okay, but I don't want it to hold under this buyer, because we might go for this buyer. This might act like a magnet, but we might reclaim back above 180. So this was just a positive confirmation. This order just made me more confident to take this trade right off the market open, and the exit criteria was based on near 184. We can see that ladder resistance. We had a bit of resistance right here near 184. That's where I covered my position. I made $22,000 on this trade. We can see we had a big seller at around 184, another big seller right under 184, another big seller at 183.5, another big seller at 183.2 approximately. So this is what I call the ladder resistance, another tape reading strategy. And we're going to talk everything about the ladder resistance, ladder support, the big buyer, the big seller, and the bid refresh, the ask refresh, the absorption of the buyers and sellers, along with real life examples in the Summit Academy. So you guys can join the waitlist in the description box below. But I'm going to show you guys one more thing. And that one more thing is that if you actually go on my YouTube channel and if you check out the live trading video, this is the video that the trade I took on NVDA, $43,000. You guys can see me executing live on this trade, 19 minutes long video, because I actually covered my position after 19-20 minutes. This is the video you guys can see I made $29,000 on. You guys can see the raw real-time emotions, how I executed on this trade on CRWE. This is a CRWE example. This is the NVDA example from 9th of October, from 30th of September and 29th of September. The NVDA trade we just discussed, 22.7K. And that is the proof for you guys. I showed you guys a screenshot at the beginning of this video, and towards the end of this video, I'm actually showing you guys the live trading. You guys can actually go on my YouTube, watch this video, how to make 43.4K with the real-time executions. Everything is recorded live with real executions on interactive brokers. And again, you can't fake your trades on this broker. And the two videos I talked about, how to trade the market open, this is going to be the video on actually marking your level of significance and how to know when to trade the market open and when to take a backseat of the market open. And the Camarilla pivots video, which is the R3, S3, R4, S4, the overdrive zone, the launchpad zone. This video is going to help you a lot with your trading. Saying that, thank you for watching, guys. If you guys like these kind of video, give this video a thumbs up, because it actually motivates me a lot to post more amazing content for you guys. If you guys are new, subscribe to my channel, like this video. Also follow me on Instagram. I post a lot of behind the scenes and a lot of my PNLs on Instagram as well. The link will be in the description box below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.